3.
Buckle.
We good?
Shoot.
Buckle my shoe. Can you check your mic real quick?
Hello.
Okay. Here goes the intro.
Bow, bow, bow.
Anytime.
Not getting bumps
Ooh,
this
sounds
week
so
on
close.
YouTube.
Sorry, boys.
Don't do that. That sounds terrible.
Oh, I just lost that again.
Yeah, me too. That's okay.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Oh. That helped.
Great.
You good?
What up, nerds? Welcome to a very southern episode of Straight Chilling. My name's Bob, and I'll be your host for this evening. This is episode number 245, recorded on Monday, December 16th, 2019. Tonight we're going to be talking about Parasite. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from my dining room table, we got our boy Randall Gamble G. Landell.
I'm nude.
You're
YouTube exclusive.
Well, it sure is great to be in the rootin' tootin'est place in the world, Jacksonville, Florida.
sex on rooting and tooting-ness. It's awesome. Next up, calling in from Southern Korea, we got our boy Soju.
What up? It's your boy Soju.
I thought you were going to say studio stings.
Yeah.
So,
Studio stands. Bob, get to work on that.
yeah, on it. Last but not least, also calling in from my dining room table, everybody welcome back fan favorite, Becky. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good.
I'm glad y'all are here.
Rooting into it with my cider boy.
Cider boy.
Cider Boy from Mimosa Cider, not a sponsor of this podcast.
Definitely not.
Toots to be coming up.
So, guys, how's Florida? The same or very different?
Very different.
You know, it really seems like there's a whole heaping helping of CBD stores here now.
Dr. MJ.
Dr. MJ. We like to get high.
Apparently.
You like doctors named after Michael Jordan.
That, and then what else is different? Oh, the weather's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Publixes are back.
Publixes are back.
They're back.
Thank
They
God.
brought them back just for you.
We have no object
Popcorn.
permanence in our family. If they're not in my line of sight, they don't exist anymore.
They shut them all down.
We just got a new Publix out here in Southern Korea.
No way.
Yeah,
You
that's a
shouldn't
lie.
make. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They're not even fucking Illinois. They're not making it to Soda.
Yeah, that's a
Don't you lie to us about Publix.
Uh,
Acceptable behavior.
Yeah, that's not a joking matter. Before we get into it, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick. Another reminder, we have our January poll pick posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get a chance to vote on a movie we're talking about next month. The theme for the month is going to be redemption. So these three movies that you can vote on are movies that we have done a show on before, but we kind of want to revisit them and maybe get a little bit deeper into them. So the options are Evil Dead 2, Scream, and The Exorcist. Evil Dead 2 and Scream are pretty close to being tied. Scream's still winning, but not by a whole lot. And then The Exorcist is trailing pretty far behind.
We need to get
I
some
wish that-
deadites in this bitch.
Yeah. Exorcist was the first movie ever made out, like ever with a person.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
You think
Whoa.
We threw that on and went to town.
Was it
That
the
happened.
crucifix?
It wasn't
scene?
Randy.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was, yeah. It wasn't Randy, it was a wombat. I cannot
It was
remember his
a
name.
wombat.
Wombat looks like a fucking wombat.
You making out with two animals?
Let's compare. Let's compare with Randy.
His eyes
Better,
were very
worse?
like wide set. Way worse. Very wet.
Very wet.
I just remember like glancing over the tube and like, this is kind of fucked up what we're doing right now. It's like, yeah, it was weird.
How far did it go, Bex? Give us all the nitty-gritty details. Randy wants to
man.
know.
They did that thing. I still don't know what you call that.
The shocker?
The shocker.
You got shocked?
That's the
thing.
filthiest thing Becky can think of on the fly. That's the funniest part of it.
I
Who
always
did
have to
that
think about it
thing?
and do my fingers.
I did the whole, the thing with the finger.
I got
You
wombat.
You know what thing. Did that thing where he wrapped his tail around my neck.
Choked me a little bit. Begged for mercy. And we're
Oh
done.
yeah.
Here we go, Randy.
So,
And now we can't get it up if we're not at the zoo. It's the smell of the manure that does it.
Manure.
Oh boy. Anyways.
So you've got until the end of the month to vote on our January poll pick. Juice, you've got a whole bunch of shit you need to talk about. Spill it, girl.
Where's
Spill it. Bracket of blood. We're talking bracket of blood. Burn. Last week was the Monster Division. It has finished, and the winners of the Monster Division are Shin Godzilla, It Follows,
Shin.
Bob's favorite movie of all time, A Quiet Place, The Shape of Water, Krampus, Train to Busan, and It Chapter 1. Not It Chapter 2. That shit lost. Those are
on there.
Those are the 7 winners from the Monster Poll Pick. This is our bracket of blood. Each week we are doing a different division in our round 1, voting for the greatest horror film of the decade. This is something we're going to be doing for a while until we have one crowned winner. What is the greatest horror film of the decade? This week we have a new division. It is the Haunters division. So we have 7 new polls, 8 films total. And the 28 films that are included are, oh God, the first one, Gojim, Haunted Asylum. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it.
Go Jeep.
Yeah, Go Jeep. Deathgasm, The Innkeepers.
Yeah.
Suspiria, The Wailing, Blair Witch, The Conjuring 2, Insidious, Housebound, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Oculus, Sinister, The Babadook, The Conjuring, Crimson Peak, Unfriended, A Dark Song, Ghost Stories, The Last Exorcism, Evil Dead, that's the remake, of course, The Witch, The Veach, Ouija, Origin of Evil, Annabelle Creation, As Above, So Below, Hell House LLC, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, The Canal, and Bedeviled.
That sound like the anal?
I think
It's
it's
the canal.
no.
Okay. So I was like, what are you talking about?
It's
Okay.
anal. The C
We
anal.
all know.
It's the canal. But yes, that is our new division that is up. You have until this Friday, which is what, the 19th, the 20th, maybe? Until 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's when the polls will close. And then next week we have one more division. It is the Macabre division. And
The Hufflepuff division.
yeah, the Huffle, the catch-all. But yeah, so we are getting close to rounding out round 1 of Bracket of Blood. Thank you to everyone who has participated, voted, shared. We hashtag appreciate you. It's been a lot of fun. This one has a lot of movies that I haven't seen. I think this is the division
The
with
Haunters?
movies
Get
I
your
haven't
ghost
seen.
busting ass in gear.
I know. There's a ton actually I haven't seen on here.
Get to work.
Some more tough choices. There was one, somebody was bitching about Housebound, Autopsy of Jane Doe, Oculus, and Sinister. All great movies that are hard to
Yeah, they are good.
compete. Yeah. Ooh, or vote on.
Housebound for the win on that one.
Hashtag Housebound.
Oh,
for the win.
you're advocating now. Are we not? Or is the impartial veil slipping?
Oh, I'm partial.
Okay, all right.
Also, a big thanks to everybody who hung out with us this past Friday. Joe Bob was doing his Red Christmas marathon. He had the old triple feature up there. We had a decent turnout. It was a good time. I passed out on the couch between like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, I think.
Wait,
hang.
did he
hang.
actually do number 2 of
Oh
what's
yeah,
that?
Silent
He
Night,
did.
Deadly Night.
Silent
Oh,
Night,
yeah.
Deadly Night 2? He did too?
Yeah.
he did
Yeah.
too.
We watched
Oh
it
my
yesterday. It was great.
God.
Yeah.
Did he do 1?
No,
No.
he said
Sure
we
doesn't
tried
have
to
rights
get
to it or something. Yeah.
He couldn't get the rights. Long story was the phrase.
But
Oh.
like the second one basically is the first one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is, like, you're getting the Cliff Note version as it is, so
Basically
why the
no
fuck
problem.
not?
That is fucking hilarious.
And
Damn.
then he hung Darcy, the male girl, up on antlers.
Yeah.
Oh, they really did?
These were
Oh,
showing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We heard it. Yeah. It was
nice.
It's cool. He also showed Black Christmas and Jack Frost, which is terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's 2/3 of an entertaining night there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was enjoying Black Christmas. I had to go a little early, but the show is dope.
Yeah.
I love hearing Billy on the phone.
So yeah, thanks to everybody that was hanging out with us on Friday. The last bit of housekeeping we have is this is going to be your final reminder that the You Pick the Flick tier is going to be posted on our Patreon website this Sunday, December 22nd at noon Eastern Standard Time. There's only 5 spots available for that. So if you have been wondering how you can pick a movie for us to review, this is the only way to do that. And they typically go pretty quickly. So this Sunday, the 22nd at noon, be ready and grab a spot.
Yeah, these motherfuckers go quick. We got some stalwart hard with us crew boys. Like to sweep them right away.
Yeah,
So if you're looking to get in quick.
I was gonna say G-Baby slept in 45 minutes last time and missed his window.
Never gone.
That shit was snatched up.
Hard with us crew. So be on the lookout for that. And that's something we do quarterly. So those 5 movies we'll be talking about the first quarter of the year, and then we'll open it again. So what else? That's it. That's all we got. Let's talk about what we've been watching this week. Randy, what have you been watching?
Not a ton, actually. It was Joe Bob for the most part.
Yeah.
that was most of my experience. We watched Joe Bob, and then we revisited an old favorite by the name of Hidden Mysteries Bigfoot. We watched last night, and
Randy's favorite
you're
documentary.
It's so good.
if you have listened to this show before, you have probably heard us talk about it. It is the funniest fucking documentary you will ever see, and it's not intentional.
We need to
It sure
cover
shit
that
is.
movie on this podcast.
We're
talking about
that.
We need to make that. I seriously floated the idea of making a whole other podcast reviewing that movie like every week because I just want to talk about it forever. I want a fanzine. I want a tattoo. I want a sweater with like that guy's sweater. I want it. So yeah, Bigfoot, Hidden Mysteries. It's on Amazon Prime right now. I think that little picture says Hidden Mysteries Bigfoot. The title card says the mystery files, Bigfoot's big dick or some shit. It's like a monster mystery. Yeah,
They didn't
it's
even
like
name it the same
monster
thing.
files. No, they're never the same. And when it's on Netflix, it just says Bigfoot.
You'll know it's the right one if there's drumming.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you see a weirdo drumming in the woods in the first minute of
picked
the
right.
footage, you picked correctly.
Of the foodie.
Yeah, you're in for a good time.
Yeah. Grab yourself a drink and settle in, my friend, because your world's about to open up wide.
That dude is just laying into that splash zone, just going to town on it.
It's the best.
He's just entertaining Bigfoot.
He just wants to entertain Bigfoot because he smells so bad.
He saw that with his fiance when he ordered a draft beer,
Oh
please.
my God, the draft beer. I'm going to walk into a bar and I'm going to go to the bartender and say, "May I have a draft beer, please?" And then the scene is going to end.
And that's all you'll see.
That's what the stage direction wrote.
Damn, I need to watch that again.
It is so fucking funny.
It is the funniest
So
fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think I might throw that shit on as
Watch
soon as we
that.
get done.
Please do. Please do.
We'll watch it again if you get into town, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It's on the list.
Booked.
Becky, what have you been watching?
Well, I've been off work for the past week, and I
Yes,
don't know how
you
to work his parents'
Nice.
TV, so I've been watching Survivor on demand.
Survivor, what
on
season did you start with?
39.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
They're
this
up
is
to
the latest.
39?
Now
Yeah.
that's what I call Survivor.
And
39.
it's pretty fucked up. So
Holy
this like
shit.
season, they're they're really big on like, wow, the real world is really showing itself in Survivor. Because they're talking about race a lot and like the Me Too movement, all this shit. But the big news is there's a dude on the island, one of the competitors, who is like touching the women, like grabbing their inner thigh.
I feel like
these
that
women,
happens like
couldn't sleep.
every season.
Yeah,
Well, it happened
probably.
extra this time.
It happened extra, but the women like didn't vote him out because he was good to bring to the end to vote out. Anyways, this episode I watched today, he got removed from the island. For
Like they had to
shot
like
him out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Back to the mainland.
But they said it wasn't towards another contestant. He did it to like a crew staff.
Oh
That's
god
fucked up.
damn, dude.
Yeah, but he's a talent manager in real life, and I guess there's stuff coming out that he did that shit to his like actors and stuff.
That's what he does.
That's why you
Yeah.
don't join Survivor if you're a rapist.
Or
That's the rule. Just, if you're gonna be a rapist, just don't join Survivor.
Just
one
do
of the
something
criteria.
else.
Yeah.
Have the decency not to join Survivor, rapists.
Rapists.
Why rape someone when you could just watch a Bigfoot documentary?
True.
Dude,
those guys jack off
Bigfoot
just
saving
enough
the
as a
world.
rapist. Yeah.
Bigfoot saving the world. Yes, that's the documentary. That's what it's called. The new one I'm making about the documentary.
Anyways, so I'm watching Survivor.
Cool.
Okay.
I watched Hunger Games today because that's on demand as well. We've been watching a lot of baking shows with Andy's mom. That we watched a gingerbread cook-off today.
Oh, yes. So, some very catty competitors in that one.
There were. Yeah. She's like, I just spent the whole time making the sugar windows, and you get to do the piping. And it was a whole argument.
It was fucking chaos.
Horrifying.
Sounds.
We do a horror movie podcast.
I think so. Juice, what have you been watching?
I got to watch Knives Out. It was
Great.
It was delightful. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It made me want to watch Clue. And I've been watching American Horror Story season 8, maybe Apocalypse. It's been a while since I've watched a season of American Horror Story. I didn't see like I think The Hotel was the last one I watched. So I have been watching that. It's not particularly good, but now I feel invested. That's how they get you. They got me. It's
that's the Star Wars method.
It's actually it's like titled Apocalypse, and it starts with kind of like, oh, nuclear missiles like dropping on the world or whatever. Like that's the premise, but it actually turns out to be like a sequel to season 3, which is Coven. So I feel like kind of cheated. Like I'm like, well, what the fuck? Why didn't they just like start with that? I don't know. It feels weird to like set that baseline of like, oh, nuclear. I thought I was gonna get like some crazy mutants and shit, but
You're getting the Coven oven.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That show's weird because I feel like we've talked about it before where you get to like the 3rd or 4th episode and I just lose interest completely.
Yeah, because there's so much shit smeared on the walls by that point, and you don't know which turd to pay attention to.
Yeah, they never
But
want
unlike
to
Justin,
stick
we
with
don't
like
keep
one thing. Like even with Apocalypse, it wasn't even like until like the 2nd episode that they started like switching things up. I was like, God, can't you at least just like stick with one thing for like at least half the season?
Yeah. Is it Billy Eichner in that season?
Is it who in that season?
Billy Eichner.
I don't know who that is.
He's in a couple of seasons.
He's in Hotel.
He was in Hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
I
maybe.
think freak shows as well.
Possibly.
Anyway, sorry, I'm just curious. Billy
Yeah.
Eichner on the brain.
So I've been watching that. I still might go back and watch the Cult one. I
That
think
one's pretty good. I like it.
Is it? Okay. So I might go
Yeah.
back and watch that one when I think I could finish this one before I leave for Christmas. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching. Knives Out was dope.
Cool.
Yeah.
I watched a little movie called Tammy and the T-Rex.
I've heard about this movie about 35 times.
I've
Yeah.
only seen 3.
Oh, yeah. I want to tell everyone about it. So Vinegar Syndrome put this out recently on Blu-ray and 4K. So this is a movie from 1993 starring Paul Walker. And I guess...
And Denise Richards, right?
Yes. And apparently, when it was originally released in the 90s, they took all the gore out of it, and it was just like a teenage comedy. And it still very much is that, but Vinegar Syndrome the version they put out, they put all the gore scenes back into it. Basically, Paul Walker in the movie is dating Denise Richards, and they are in high school, and Paul Walker dies, and there's this crazy scientist who builds this huge mechanical T-Rex, and he transfers Paul Walker's consciousness into this T-Rex, and the T-Rex is trying to communicate with Denise Richards, but it can't talk. But he's like trying to communicate as Paul Walker, and then in the process of him doing this, he's also just like ripping people apart in really gory, hilarious ways.
It sounds like a really good version of Theodore Rex to me.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Not big Whoopi Goldberg fans in here? What?
I guess
Okay.
not.
Never heard of
this shit
Ghost, Bob?
No, I have never heard. Never heard of it. That shit is hilarious though, and I highly recommend you check it out. It
I
had me
also
busting
thought
my nuts.
Ghost was pretty funny. Thanks, Bob.
Oh my god. Other than that, I was able to check out Black Christmas, the new one that came out. Pretty solid. Pretty solid movie. Yeah. It's
really? I
it's-
heard bad things.
I haven't heard one way or the other, but I'm trepidatious because it seems tonally very different.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not that different, but it's like, I don't know. It's PG-13, so the kills are, they shy away from showing a lot of blood.
Right.
But it is like, I think it's very effective in what it's trying to do. It's very much a social commentary on like rape culture in colleges, and they kind of tackle that head on. They don't like dance around it at all. It's like very much about that 100%. But I don't know. I think it's handled pretty well, and like the cast of characters in the movie do a really good job, and it's got like the Christmas vibe like going through it pretty much throughout. So it's.
Do they have a cat named Claude though?
No, and they don't have a drunk house mom either. It's just kind of a bummer.
Bob, I don't like
But,
politics in my horror movies, okay?
I know you mean that.
I like my horror to exist in a void, thank you.
I don't like commentary about anything ever. No, it's pretty good. I mean, it's definitely, it didn't need to be called Black Christmas, like, at all. Like, they just kind of called it that, I guess, for name recognition. But it's good. I recommend you check it out. Cool. And I also finished the Watchmen series on HBO. Fucking incredible. Awesome.
Really? Wow.
I gotta see those last couple episodes.
Watch that shit.
Everybody's creaming their shorts about that show, damn.
Cream shorts. A lot of blue dick. Actually, not a lot, but definitely some blue dick.
A substantial
Well,
dearth of blue dick.
Actually, not enough.
We could really do a little more blue dick if we want to squeeze out a part 10.
Is that the one you said
Blue
like
dick
was so
sessions.
long it went past the screen?
Yeah, it's hilarious. The first time you see the dude's dick, there's like a table in the foreground, and you don't see the end of it. Dick never ends. It's just shaft. And then
That reminds me.
the table obscures the.
That reminds me of that basketball where they're like nude in the locker room and they turn around and you can hear their wiener sloshing around.
Does that really happen?
In the movie, like it's a comedy.
Well, I mean, in real life.
Oh.
Yes.
In real life.
Did your wombat's wiener slosh around?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, if there's somebody out there with a wiener that can sling over the shoulder, like knapsack, I don't know.
Well, there once was a man from Nantucket.
Let's move on.
Let's carry on. Getting to the main event here, we'll start off with the back of the box.
Ooh.
What is on the back of the box? We're talking about Parasite from 2019. That's this year. Directed by Bong Joon-ho.
Oh my.
This is a South Korean joint, and the synopsis is as follows. All unemployed. Please forgive me on the names that we gotta push it.
Here we go, guys. Get your canceling stamps ready.
All unemployed Kai Take and his family take peculiar interest in the wealthy and glamorous Parks as they integrate themselves into their lives and get entangled in an unexpected incident. So, have you guys? Well, I guess we've all only seen this movie once, that I'm aware, since it's pretty new. Justin, you might have seen it more than once. I'm not sure.
No,
would you recommend?
the once.
Okay. Would you recommend people go to the theatre and check this movie out. Becky, why don't you kick us off?
Oh yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was great. I kind of actually looked today to see if I could see it again before the podcast, because we saw it a couple weeks ago. But it was great. I really liked it. Yes, go watch it.
Cool. Randy?
Yeah, I would say it's worth your money. I'd say that.
Give it your money. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend. This movie's getting all kind of buzz, like globally, winning all kind of awards at any kind of festival or like anything it goes through. So if you haven't heard about the hype now, it's like it just keeps rolling, keeps getting bigger. So definitely check this movie out.
Get in while you can still say you saw it first.
I saw it first.
I made this movie. Yeah, I would agree with everyone. This movie is pretty damn solid. It's not a straight horror by any means. It's kind of like a big blend of genres. It's got like some family drama in there. It's also very funny throughout a large portion of it, and there's some pretty thriller-y / horrific stuff going on as well. So it's a nice blend of stuff. Yeah, check it out. I'm gonna go and drop a spoiler warning, and we're gonna get into Parasite. You've been warned. All right. Have you guys seen Oakjaw? Which
I never did.
The same director. Okay, that was the one he did before Parasite. I was just curious. I hadn't seen it either.
I have. It's on Netflix. I heard I was looking at just kind of his filmography, and I heard that one is like a kind of like a big commentary on like eating meat or just like how you treat animals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's like this huge like giant animal in it that is like the best friend to like this child or something like that. I haven't seen it.
Delicious.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, he's always like because then he also made like Snowpiercer and that's obviously got a big like social commentary built in. So yeah, he's got something to say.
There's a lot of YouTube videos about Snowpiercer being a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Look that shit up if you want to have a good time, because it's silly and it's fun as fuck.
I don't want to have a good time.
No.
Do
He made a film in 2009 called Mother that I have not seen.
Mother.
Yeah, not the Mother we covered last.
Yeah.
Not that mother.
Yeah.
And The Host, which we have covered on this cast before.
We have. Yeah.
Sometimes.
He didn't do Train to Busan, did he?
No.
No.
I read a review today and that was mentioned, but okay.
Nope. So to get into this movie a little bit here. So yeah, we've got like a family of 4 living in Korea, and they're pretty poor. They don't have any jobs. They kind of fold up some pizza boxes at one point, get a little cash.
They're hustling on the side.
Yeah, so they're trying to make money where they can, and they have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. The boy, his friend is tutoring this little girl, this wealthy couple's little girl in math, and he's about to like go abroad, and he recommends his buddy take over tutoring duties. So he does that. So the family starts making a little income that way, just via his tutoring sessions. And while he's there, the mother of the rich family mentions that they need an art tutor for their other kid, and so he recommends his sister, but does not tell them that they're related.
And they falsify a bunch of documents.
Yeah, they make fake documents. They say like she studied in like Illinois and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. We were in Illinois when we saw it. We were like,
She designs all their shit in Photoshop.
Yeah, in the PC bong, which is dope. So like kids go to like PC rooms here to play like games or whatever, and that's where she was making all like the fake documents. They just went to the PC room and
Well, they didn't have internet. They were like they found one spot in their house where they could steal internet from a cafe.
they were hustlers for sure.
Yeah.
Well, they were poor as dirt.
They one by one basically become employed by this wealthy family. The dad gets a job as a driver for the rich family, and then the mom basically becomes the maid, and the housekeeper, the housekeeper. And in order for them to get these jobs, the driver's job and housekeeper job, they have to like fabricate situations for the current driver and housekeeper to be fired.
Yeah.
So they do that.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And
so the
there's,
lies get like bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
It's like this Italian Job sort of thing where they just like they actually poison the maid.
Well, she's allergic to peaches, so they get peach fuzz off the peaches and like sprinkle it in her hair and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck her
Convince
over
the
and over.
family that she had like tuberculosis.
Yeah, she's highly contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first half of this movie is very much like a black comedy. Because, like the thing, the way they're tricking this family and like getting these other people like ruining their lives and getting them fired. It's like dark, but it's like also like really funny. Like how they go, like you said, like an Italian Job, but they're just like spraying peach fuzz everywhere and like shit like that. It's like
I love it. They got
successful.
the original driver fired by the daughter to getting a ride home, and she just took off her panties and left them in the car for her.
Yeah.
For the dad to find the father Park.
Take your panties off.
It's like got some quick fucking thinking.
Yeah, I guess they had a loose plan because as she's doing that, you're watching the movie and you're just kind of like, what the fuck is this girl doing?
Yeah.
She just leaves him there and doesn't like say anything about it to the driver. She just leaves him there. And she's talking to her brother about it, and he's like, oh, so we're moving into the next phase already. So they kind of had it worked out to where they're all planning on becoming employed by this wealthy family. And at the very beginning of the movie, they're given a gift, and it's basically just a big rock, and I guess it's supposed to be some sort of good luck charm for them to be more financially successful. Yeah. So it seems to be working at the beginning of the movie anyways. And they, as they're all working for this family, they pretend that they're not related. They don't really know each other. And then, so the family, the rich family, they go out on this camping trip for their son's birthday. And while they're out, the Kims, which are the people who are now employed by the Parks, they decide they're just going to live in this mansion over the weekend while the family's out, and they're hooting and hollering and eating and drinking and causing a mess and
just daydreaming about living there for real.
Yeah. Pretending like it's theirs. But I guess a big storm rolls through, and the Parks cancel the camping trip, and they turn around, come back home.
Well, even before that, the housekeeper shows up at the door asking if she can grab something out of the basement.
It's like, I left something.
She's acting real squirrely. And she has like a black eye or something, or like she's fucked up.
Dirty,
She just like she's been having like a rough time. Like she because she essentially like lived at the house or whatever, I guess.
She's like a living house.
It looks like she's like been like living on the streets, and she's been gone for a couple weeks or something like that.
And she was really put together before, so like this, we see her kind of like really broken down. And you're like, oh, this poor woman. Yeah. They let her in.
Well, I thought it was like. Yeah, I thought for sure when she was let in, though, she was going to be like crazy and like kill them all. Yeah. But she doesn't. She goes about her business, like actually goes to
the well, kind of. Yeah, she goes down and she goes about her business, but her business is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So this movie downstairs. Like turns. This is like when it like switches gears, like because that night is just like a huge pivotal point in a lot of like the tone changing from into like a more horrific, and also just like that's when like the despair kind of sets in for the family, because up until this point they've been like really successful, like they're doing their kind of funny like ploys to take over this kind of like rich but kind of like ditzy family, like they're just like super naive and easy to manipulate. But then like that night where it like switches like to dark and like they have this celebration, but then the housekeeper comes back, like that changes like everything. It's like raining that night. It's like really like changes the mood completely of this movie.
Yeah, it goes from like fucking Home Alone to The Strangers in like one scene. It's crazy.
Yeah, but so she goes downstairs, and this house, so it's owned by this like super rich family, and it was built by this architect that she was the housekeeper for the architect as well. So when he built the house, like, so she knows like everything about it. But it's got this like, of course, like hidden, almost like panic room or whatever, because in case the North Korea missiles come or whatever they say, like,
bunker.
That's like a bunker. But she's got her husband living down there. Like nobody even knew she was married, but her husband's living down there. And there's a couple like really, even though it's still really dark and kind of scary when you see this guy, there's still like some really funny things, and there's some connections to like these two poor families like share. So you find out there's this hidden guy in there, and like their family, the housekeeper and her husband, and then they're interacting with this other family who has gotten her fired and like taken over this house, and they essentially like go to war with each other because they don't want to get outed, like so they're like, oh
well, yeah, they both are reliant on this rich family thinking that they're like the shit, and like in order to survive. Her husband was down there without food for like 3 days because nobody could get in there. Nobody would know he was in there. And she managed to weasel in. And like it was so funny because they referenced earlier in the movie how like the father, the dad of the Park family, the matriarch, he was like, the only problem with her is she eats enough for 2 people. It's crazy. It talks about like how much she eats. Turns out it's because she's been sneaking food to her husband at night.
Yeah. Well, the guy was down there, and he was kind of like stir crazy. He reminded me of Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter. Yeah. Like once he was done being the mouse, just like was just entrapped and didn't know how to act. It was crazy.
Socialized or something.
I think he said that he's been down there for like 3 or 4 years. He's hiding out. He's hiding out from debt collectors. So he's had to hide away from debt collectors. Yeah, which
and he was also like
about that later. That's a lot of like where the connection comes from and stuff. Like the two families, the poor family.
Yeah.
Okay. He also at one point this comes into play later on, but he worships the Park family, the guy in the basement.
Yeah.
In the bunker. He like worships them, and he like tries to send them Morse code messages
through the lights.
They're turning on and off the lights that he somehow has a switchboard downstairs. They just think it's broken, and it's like, that thing's fucked up again.
But their messages of praise. They're not like help me or anything. They're just like, you're the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kick ass.
Thank you for all your blessings. He praises him like he's God. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole scene where the family comes home early from the camping trip is fucking hilarious. Like everything that goes down is incredible. So like the family has to, clean up their mess really quickly, and the lady, the original housekeeper, gets like pushed down the stairs, and she gets like a pretty bad
her head
injury. Yeah. And so she's like bleeding out, and then the rest of the family who is employed by the Parks, they're all like hiding underneath this huge coffee table in the living room. And the little boy comes home, and he decides that he still wants to go camping, so he pitches this tent out in the backyard, and
which is like just a glass wall between the coffee table, living room, and the garden area that he's camping in.
And Mom and Pop Kim, they decide they're gonna like sleep on the couch so they can keep an eye on their son in the backyard.
Then they start fooling around on the couch.
And before they start diddling each other, which is hilarious. And so the whole family can like hear them diddling because they're underneath the coffee table. But before that, Mr. Kim starts talking or Mr. Park starts talking about Mr. Kim and how it kind of smells like him in the house, even though he's not there. And the wife is like, well, what are you talking about? What does he smell like? He's like, when you boil rags, he kind of smells like that.
He talks about how people he talks about how people who ride the subway like smell like that. So it's essentially he's like just like
he smells poor. He's a poor man.
He smells poor.
Not a rich man.
Yeah. He smells like the proletariat.
But I think that like is a turning point too for the dad. And like
it certainly becomes one later on.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that whole scene is crazy, and they're there for a while until they fall asleep. And at one point, even the couple from downstairs got the upper hand. I forget exactly how, but they held them at gunpoint and before getting knocked back and not pushed down the stairs and so forth. And then eventually they do escape, and they're like, "All right, well, we need to get out of here. We'll go back to our house and regroup." They go to their house. There's a fucking torrential storm happening all night, by the way. And their whole apartment and their whole neighborhood basically has completely fucking flooded, and they have nothing left. Shit is rising out of their toilet and blasting them. Literal shit.
And while they're doing that, it keeps going back and forth, showing like the rich family and they're like nice, because for them it's a peaceful night. Like, oh, it's raining, and they get to watch it through this beautiful like glass window, and their son is just like pitching its in the back in their huge yard. While they're like this other family, like everything is completely destroyed. This one girl like just like sitting like on the toilet as they like spew sewage all over their house and everything like that. It's a great like that scene is fucking amazing.
Yeah, them like running through the city at night through the rain, like getting back home to find their flooded apartment. It's probably my favorite scene of the whole movie, because the way it's shot is just so beautiful. Like how everything's framed and following them throughout the city. It's freaking gorgeous.
And but it's so fucking heartbreaking.
It is, it's hard.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, they end up like going to a shelter, and like everyone's lost their homes, and like everyone's just fucked.
And then the next day, like first thing in the morning, they all get calls from their employers like, oh, hey, we need you today. Come on in. We're going to throw a party. I need you to help me throw a party for my son.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're all just like sitting there in a fucking shelter. Yeah. They're like, I guess we'll have to dig and find some clothes that we can wear. And man, it's so sad. And they do it because they have to. They fucking have to. They have nothing left. And that's when the dad and the son have a little finer heart-to-heart that's really depressing. And then
they start talking about like the plan, like what are we gonna do and how are we gonna like get around this, because now somebody's like dying in the basement or whatever. So the kid like just resolve, like he comes up with a plan himself, like I'm gonna go down there. He doesn't like share it with anybody, but he's like gonna go down there and kill them essentially with the rock, the gifted rock, which is a great like symbolic nature.
He's clinging to that rock.
What he took from their house is that gifted rock that's supposed to bring them like riches and stuff like that and prosperity, and that's what he's gonna use to like crush the people down in the basement.
It's true. And then but I love that his dad, he's telling his dad like, well, what's the plan? His dad's like, you know what? And he was like, you said you had a plan earlier, right, Dad? And he's like, no, I never have a plan. If you have a plan, it gets fucked up. So I don't have plans because I don't want them to fuck up.
And that's important. That's important too.
It is important.
So one thing, I guess let's finish up the plot. So they go to the party, and that's where shit goes down. So they go to the party, and the kid is gonna go kill the people in the basement with the rock. The housekeeper has already died. So she died from her head injury that she got when she fell down the stair, when she got pushed down the stairs. So her crazy husband, who's been living in a basement for like 4 years, has now been living with his dead wife over the night. She's died. So when he goes down, so when he goes down to kill those people, the guy gets the better of him, and the son gets like beaten in the head with a rock instead. And you think I thought he was
you definitely think he's dead.
Because
I thought he was dead for sure.
It looks like his head gets like smashed with a giant rock or whatever. I mean, it does.
Oh, he's dead.
It's like that's a death blow for sure. And then the crazy guy, who by the way has been slamming his head into that light switch all night.
That's right. Yeah.
And looks like terrifying.
So this is the horror scene essentially, I guess, is this dude in the basement. But he comes out and wrecks the party. He stabs the daughter.
As she brings out a cake in front of a crowd.
The Kim's daughter.
The Kim's daughter.
And then the mom tackles his ass. And then they're wrestling, and he gets stabbed. Who kills him? Does the dad kill him?
The dad does. The dad sees this happen, and he gets up and walks
with a tomahawk. He's got a tomahawk.
With a tomahawk, because the whole thing is that the party is Native American themed because the son is obsessed with Native Americans, and the dad is making him play act like a Native American with a headdress and all this shit, and he's like really demeaning to him while he's doing this. Yeah. So he's sniffing, like he can smell something that smells terrible, and it's like the dad is at the lowest part of his life right now. Complete bottoming out, and he watches his daughter get stabbed, so he gets up with that tomahawk and slashes that dude,
Yeah, he kills so Mr. Kim, the father of the poor family, kills also Mr. Park. So after he's killed the murderer who has killed his daughter, he also, because what happens is actually his daughter is still bleeding out. So they're like trying to get her to a hospital, but while they're doing that, they're like, help or whatever. And instead, like Mr. Park, the rich dad, he like does this thing like with the smell, like, oh, something smells like terrible.
He goes to get the keys.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Off the ground to take his son because the dad, Mr. Lee, the dad who just stabbed the attacker, he's supposed to drive him. He's like, come on, I need you. And he's like not knowing that his daughter has just been stabbed and he's got his own daughter to kill him. But then, so Mr. Park goes to grab his keys from near the basement guy, the bunker guy, and he like holds his nose and is like acting like repulsed by the guy, even though he's dead or whatever. He can't hurt him. He's like gingerly touching him and grabbing his keys. And that's just it. That's just it for Mr. Kim.
Yeah.
He has had fucking enough. And he tomahawks that dude in the back, if I remember correctly.
Yep. And then he hauls some ass and winds up hiding in the secret room in the house. And
so the ending is fucking brilliant of this movie.
And bleak.
He uses the whole Morse code thing to communicate with his son, and his son writes a letter back to his dad explaining that he's going to go get a job and become wealthy and make enough money to buy the house and reunite his family. And that's pretty much the end of the movie.
So they do a flash forward of that.
Yeah.
And you think it's like, oh, wow, it happened. And then it doesn't happen.
Because he's like, the whole thing is the son is watching the house.
Yeah.
I think he suspects that like they've sold the house to some unaware American company from Montana or some shit.
He doesn't even suspect that. What happened? So, okay, the way the Park family ends up, the daughter dies, so she's dead.
Yes.
Father is on the run and hasn't been seen or heard from. The son, since you think
this
he's
is the Kim
dead,
family.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Kim family. The son, since he got bashed in the head with a rock, is like now mentally disabled. Like he's fucked up, like mentally. And him and his mom are like prosecuted for like fraud and like all this shit. So they have to like
go worse off than before.
Yeah, and then they just end up back in their like shitty apartment with no dad, no daughter.
Tailed by cops.
And actually the son is like so fucked up and also just so depressed. He goes and watches the house because that was the only place they kind of found any sort of like happiness together. And as he's doing so, he notices the lights, and it turns out the father just does a message in Morse code every night, hoping that his son is watching the house. And it's like, hey, I'm just like living in this basement and I gotta stay here forever or else like I'm fucked. I'm obviously like I killed somebody. And so the son is like writing this letter like, oh dad, I'm gonna break you out, but like I'm gonna buy the house, I'm gonna be successful. And there's just like a lot of social commentary in that, which I can on like from a Korean perspective. But yeah, it just ends with a bleak, like everybody's screwed. Like it's
his big plan, which by the way is a plan, which his father said don't bother with. His plan to get his father free from this situation is just to become successful enough to buy this incredibly opulent house and then let him out one day. And they show it happening, and you kind of think, oh, did it somehow happen? And how's this going to end? And then it cuts back to him writing the letter again, showing that that's just his imagination. And it's like your plan is just a fantasy. That's really like the takeaway at the end. So yeah, it's fucking bleak at the end, and it is like he doesn't even have a way to send that message to his father. Like, he has no light he can turn on and off in the guy's bunker. So
what? Tell us a little bit about this and how this. Like, what does this mean, Justin? You live in Korea. You've been there for a little bit. Like,
what does it mean?
I feel like it obviously means probably more to you than it does to us.
Well, there's a couple things that even I went to go see it, and I was talking about it with like a Korean friend, and just like there were some things that I was able to pick on, and some things that she helped me see like, oh, like makes some more sense of. So one is the connection with the two poor families, and it's mentioned a couple times. And it's really funny because I've talked with you guys about this particular like funny thing that happens in Korean, except now it's in this movie. It's like kind of dark and bleak. But when I came to Korea, they had these food trends. So like every like 6 to 8 months, it seems like there's this new like food trend where like these restaurants erupt and everyone wants to sell like this like one kind of thing. And it's like similar to like clothing trends, like, oh, this is hot, this is popular right now. And like a bunch of them boom and open, and then after a while you just don't see them anymore. Like one shop might stick around, two shops, but like people get tired of it and they want like a new food trend. So what they mention in this, the reason that this family is poor is because they opened up one of those shops. So apparently Thai cake shops were really popular at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that both of these families, the housekeeper, the reason that
Yeah, that's
guy
right.
indebted to the shark is because they both ended up opening these Thai cake shops. And she was telling me, my friend, that apparently something that happened is there was some celebrity that like criticized them, like, oh, they don't use like fresh ingredient or something about like that it not being healthy or something. And like overnight, literally, they all just like shut down. Like it was like this is kind of thing of where like, oh, people are like listening to like celebrities, and also it's just like a very like not stable business anyways because it's a food trend. And so that was kind of the connection between these two families, because we see that the boy, he is friends with this. The way he gets the job initially is has a friend who's like super successful, and his friend is going to study abroad, and they came up studying together. But because his family lost all the money, he couldn't continue his studies. So it's almost like this is the life you could have had. Like, because his friend is like, oh, I'm going to go study in Europe for like 6 months. I need you to take over my job. Like they're close friends, and he knows his sister and everything. And it's almost like, man, if your dad hadn't like spent all this money on this like Thai cake shop or whatever, like this is like kind of the life you would have had, like just more normal, like, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that's a big thing. And it's essentially like, that's the biggest commentary on like, both of these families need this rich family to survive, but instead of like attacking the rich family, like they fight each other. Obviously that's a big you know, critique on just society in general, is how immediately the families turn on each other, where they're more alike than anything else. Like they're the ones who are like, oh, we both lost our money to a Thai cake shop, and like, you know, and stuff like that. So that's definitely like a big one, is like
That's huge. Yeah.
the differences between like the rich family and the poor families and how they got there. And that's kind of the thing about this family too, is like the Park family is rich and they look down on the Kim family, but it was only because of that unfortunate situation where they actually, so it's not like they're like just were always poor. Like even the girl she knows like Photoshop really well. Like they at one point like they were going through life like regular, and they just happen to like make a poor investment, and actually they're all really qualified to do the jobs.
Yeah, they are.
That's the funny
they're
thing.
All really good at their jobs.
Yeah, and there's even this one special scene. So when they're
Except
having
for the daughter.
when they're having the birthday party, there's this one scene. So the son falls in love with the rich daughter. He's teaching her English, and he's actually really good at it. Like he's her English tutor, and he's like really good at it. But they fall in love or whatever, and he asks her like, do I fit in here? And she just thinks like he's well-educated, well-off guy. And she's like, well, yeah, of course you fit in here. Like, and that's such a big thing of like, just like the walls that we create in our mind when we think somebody is rich or we think somebody's poor. He was like, I don't belong at this rich party, but she just thought he was rich. So she was like, well, of course you belong here. What are you talking about?
That scene reminded me a lot of, for any of the Wire fans, there's a scene in the first season of The Wire where, D'Angelo, who's a drug dealer, takes his girlfriend. He's kind of like a mid-level guy. Takes his girlfriend out to like a really nice restaurant, and he's like, "Do you think they know what I do for a living?" And his girlfriend's like, "Whatever, you got money. Who gives a fuck?" And then all that shit. I don't want to spoil anything else about that, but like that scene reminds me so much of like, do you belong here? Like I spent all my life doing this one thing that was more about survival than pleasure can I really like sit back and enjoy a fucking garden party now?
Yeah.
Like a rich person can. Like, how do I have luxury? How do I enjoy luxury in a way that's not also as dirty as my life has felt for so long? And which is how they sort of like celebrate their night alone in the house. Their big happy moment is just fucking around in the house and eating takeout on their big fucking couch and like laying out on the lawn and shit and like taking a bath. It's like, yeah, fucking, I don't know. It's really bleak commentary about like the haves and have-nots. It's like, it's not hidden at all. I wouldn't say it's subtext even. It's very, very textual to the story. And
yeah.
I don't know, it's complicated shit.
It's a weird feeling too watching this movie, because there's many times, and like when I pick up where the rich family, you'll obviously notice like their obsession with the United States. So one is like the kid like obsessed with like American Indians, and they say like, oh, his tent was made in the
I love
US.
that.
And also
so it's good. It's
exactly. And also just throughout the movie, it's really, really funny because this shit actually happens, but they'll just say like, they'll be speaking Korean, and they'll just say like random, like English phrases in English randomly. And it's used as a way to show like that they know English or
worldliness.
Like, yeah. That they're like, it's just like really funny. It's because somebody, when I was trying to learn Korean, somebody was explaining the way, like, you know how like we think like, oh, French restaurants and French like cuisine and stuff, and we think it's kind of like fancy or whatever, like, oh yeah, ooh la la, and like shit like that. Well, like that's kind of what like English is in Korean, or like or in Korea. Like they kind of use it as a way of like, oh, this is like a fancy kind of like language and area. And so it's funny that this rich family, like, they just like randomly throw out like random English phrases like throughout the movie, and like just their obsession. Oh, like they had to lie and say that the girl studied in Illinois, like, oh yeah, she went to, and it was funny to me. I was like, Illinois, like I was trying to explain to my Korean friend, I was like, Illinois is not like an illustrious place. It's not like saying like I went to school in New York. Like I'm sure they have good art schools there, but it's just funny if you're not familiar, just to say like, oh, I went to school in Illinois. I was like, I think that's like ridiculous. Like
it's kind of random. Yeah. I mean, we were in Illinois and people in the theater laughed at that line.
Yeah.
I was saying like Chicago, but even that, like, Chicago, not Illinois.
It's a world-class city, but they're talking about Illinois specifically. It's just like it's like anywhere in America could, like the most like sort of like mid-level like Americana place is the most like, oh wow, like that was the feeling that it had.
And the joke is, I guess it's like more about just the fact that it's the United States, and they actually don't even probably know anything about Illinois. And that's why it's like funny. It's like, who cares about Illinois? Like, why is that? That's not some fancy.
It's like if we heard something about like fucking I don't know, like Crete or something, or like
it's just like,
I don't know, some Italian town, any Italian town. Just like, oh wow, that's really, really nice.
Yeah,
and it could be like, I don't know, Jacksonville, the Jacksonville of Italy. Can't wait to go.
Whoa! Shots fired. Cool. Is there anything else that you picked up on, Juice, like commentary wise, what's going on?
I was trying to look at a couple different things. No, I think mainly just, and the commentary too on just like how easy it was for this like family to go from just regular normal people, like to where, you know, the kid has a friend who's like super successful and still friends with the family, and like to go from nothing, like how fragile it was, like how easy it was for them, but still how they were still qualified. Like it's all perception. Like the kid was still a good English teacher. Like he like excelled at like the task he was given. They all did. And even if the girl,
you can't get through the door without a fake degree.
Exactly. But unless you lie and forge documents and say you went to school in Illinois, or say you're part of like this illustrious club, it's like all so fake. It's all just like perception of where you fit in society.
It's more about being a successful hustler than it is about being good at your job.
Yeah.
I think it also talked about like the rich people, because they made a big point, like they're ditzy rich people.
Yeah.
Not like old money. They're very much like a new money.
They're not savvy, yeah.
So even to them, like they just fool the shit out of them. Like, I don't know, I think that was kind of interesting too.
It was. It's like
It wasn't just the people hustling. It's like they just got pulled at the same time, and they're the ones like, oh, Illinois. But I think an old money person might be like, oh, that's bullshit,
because that's perception too. Like they're trying to hold on to what they got. Like they don't, but they do that by saying like, oh, okay, well I'm going to go with the person who went to school in Illinois.
Yeah.
That makes them feel good about their decision, even though that person didn't go to Illinois and didn't live in Illinois and totally can do the same job equally well.
And like the way the family lives like so lavishly too, for the most part, they're kind of like innocent in a way. Like they're just really ditzy and dumb, and just like kind of rich snobs. But like there's this one scene where they come back that's like really funny, where they're coming back from the camping trip. And the mom wants the housekeeper woman, like the rich Miss Park wants Miss Kim to make Ramdan, which is
yeah, dude, I was just thinking about this.
So essentially, like, there's this. It's what any Korean kid would have like as a snack, and it's called like I think it's japaghetti, which is like just this like it's almost like an instant form of like jjajangmyeon, which would be like an instant form of like ramen. Instead of like going out to a Japanese restaurant and having like ramen, they have like instant ramyeon. But instead of having jjajangmyeon, they have japaghetti, which is like just like instant form. But so she makes that and then makes her put like sirloin steak in it. It's like this crazy.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, I would have never known that.
So the noodles are like what a tip, like you can go down to the CU, like or like down to the convenience store and buy like the noodles, the instant noodles for like less, like 50 cents, or it's like an instant snack meal that kids like love to have. But then it's like got sirloin steak. She makes her cut for this kid who's like 8 years old.
Who's not even hungry.
Who doesn't even want it or whatever. And it's just the way they live like so lavishly. It's just like so ridiculous. It's like a funny scene, but also at the same time, it's like sad. It's like fucked up because you're like, God, why are you putting sirloin steak into like 50-cent like noodle? Like
Is that like adding sirloin steak to Beanie Weenies?
Exactly. Yeah. It'd be like, yeah, exactly.
Easy Mac with sirloin steak in it.
There you go.
Exactly.
I'd eat it.
Yes.
Me too. I like easy Mac. I like steak.
But the kid like is not even impressed by it. He's like, I'm not hungry. I don't want that. And then the daughter bitches because like the mom eats it. It's just like a funny kind of scene, but it just shows like how ridiculous they live.
That whole like the whole thing that I keep thinking of when I'm watching this movie, or that I thought of by the end of this line that I've heard in AJJ song, and it's you're only one or two bad decisions away from becoming the people that you fear and pity. And that's kind of where these people live. Like they live on this ivory tower that they could easily be knocked out off of. And there are people that worship them for just being there. And the world is set up to keep them there because they're the people that have the resources to keep themselves there. Yeah. And then you have these people that have to glom on as hard as they can and have to scrap with each other as hard as they can just to survive, period. And to me, like that's like the biggest issue going in this movie, without question. It's a lot of that adds a lot of color to that. A lot of that Korean cultural stuff with it, you know.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we get into our rating?
That was most of my notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Becky, you want to start us off? Out of 5.
Oh dear.
How you feel about Parasite?
Maybe like a 4.75.
Whoa.
I really liked it.
Someone's going to the quarters.
I thought it had, like we said, like good social undertones and all that, but I also had like a sad dad complexion that like makes me really complex. I have this thing like about dad-aged men who like are going through rough patches. I don't know. It always like bums me out.
For them.
I do. It really turns me out.
That explains a lot about our relationship.
That's why
like,
she calls you Diddy.
Well, I don't know. It's like, it's really terrible of me being like a woman. I'm like, if I'm at a Walmart and the cashier is like a 40-year-old woman, I'm like, whatever. But if it's a 40-year-old man, I'm like, damn, this guy's like doing whatever it takes to.
That's that built-in.
It is, I know. But and the best is waiters at a restaurant. If I have like a middle-aged man with a ring on that's bald, little gray specks coming in. I'm like, oh, this sucks. If it was the mom, I wouldn't care.
What was the other movie? We watched another one around that time, and you had the same reaction.
Yeah.
There's a few of them. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's just always, it makes me sad. And this kind of had definitely that tone. Like, the dad just could not provide for this family. They couldn't provide for any of them, with mom or dad or kids. But I don't know. It was interesting. I don't remember the other movie, but
there were a few.
Yeah.
But like right around that time, you watched like 3 movies that were like that.
sad dad movies.
Sad dad movies. It's a new genre.
Sad dad.
Bonus points for the sad dad.
Yeah, it's awful. Like, it shouldn't be a thing, but it is. So it's definitely some good sad dad vibes. And it was really like just like it was beautiful. The whole like tons of twists you weren't expecting. Like when the housekeeper came to the house and they saw her on the video like doorbell, it was like, oh, she's gonna come kill them, and that's when the horror is gonna start. But it was just totally a complete different direction. Like the party scene when they just like had a little stab match going on, that was crazy too. But I really liked it. That was good.
Yeah.
Definitely like made us talk for a while afterwards. And I thought about it. I'm still thinking about it, so that's good. So, we worked in Santa Barbara. And it's not Korean, but I feel like there could definitely be a version of this. Lots of young money and just like a huge divide of like who's who in that town. Definitely could do it there too. So
That's accurate.
yeah. So anyways, good movie. Go see it.
All right.
Get sad about the dad.
Diddy, how you feeling about Parasite?
So when I first got out of this movie, I was very interested. I was very intrigued by what I saw. Obviously, I've been thinking about it quite a bit. But when I first got out of the movie, I was really hung up on something that I almost never get hung up on, and that is the genre question. I was like, yeah, is this a horror movie? I don't know. Like, I never split that hair. I don't like doing it. But ever since the Jurassic Park episode, where go back and listen.
You.
Like, yeah, I just don't care about that conversation anymore. But in this movie, I was just like, it's so, like, it's so dark, but also so funny in parts that I was just so like mixed up about it. And I just got really like sidetracked thinking about that. And I really think that comes from one thing. And this is what I pinpointed as the thing that caused that. It's that in most movies that we characterize as horror, even ones that are like sort of like borderline or that kind of like fluctuate, like they or like go into comedic areas or normal areas, and then they sort of like go back to horror the way this movie did. The one thing that this movie didn't do to that end was have an opening horror moment. So like thinking about like Us, like think about the movie Us, where it opens with the little girl in the fun house. That's your opening scene. You have a tone set for horror, and then you go to sort of like this fun family like slice of life shit for a while, and then the horror starts ramping up, and it feels like a whole horror movie that way. But this movie did not feel like a horror movie until that fucking one night. Like it took like 45 minutes to get to a part that felt like horror, and so I think that's what distracted. Anyway, but once I got past that part and like stopped worrying about that, I think that this movie just has continually added to my thoughts about this movie. So like the returns I'm getting from thinking about this movie, they just keep growing. I keep thinking about this in different ways, and it keeps becoming more and more like complex and interesting. And there's like all these little details. Like just tonight, I learned a lot that was like added a lot to this movie. And so that's kind of the thing that I like best in a horror movie that's like high-minded like this, or has some sort of like strong point to make or strong voice. And I think that's good enough reason for me, that plus all of the amazing acting, the hilarious comedy, the deep, dark fucking depths, and the beautiful shots and shot arrangements and blocking and so forth. I think it's a 5-star movie for me. And I think that could change, but I was at about where Becky was with a 4.75 right after the movie. But as time goes on, it just keeps adding. And I think that's just going to keep continuing. The more you think about this movie, the more it adds to itself. So that's me.
Cool. Juice, how you feel out of 5?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie too. Talking about one thing, this kind of happens a lot, and not just in Korean horror movies, but just like Koreans love to kind of blend genres more to where things aren't always like straight horror or whatever. But I think this does that, but it's used also in a way that helps tell the story of the family, similar to like just their life in general, where everything like starts off funny and is like happy and good, and they're actually like for a long time they're working in this house and successful. And it literally just takes one night for it all to fall to shit. Like, it just takes one moment. It's so fragile. And then everything turns on its head. I think that's like a just another way that like they're using like this blend of genres to even add more depth to this film and kind of like help you understand and sympathize with this family and this situation. I think this movie just has a lot of depth in general. The acting was fantastic. That flood scene, like that whole night scene, it's such a blend of like suspension and like tension and some horror and just some like, but also there's still some really funny moments, like when the mom and dad are like diddling each other. And a lot like just even in that one scene, and then you get to the house and it's like also just beautifully shot and everything. There's just like so much to this film that's like fantastic. It's one of my favorite films that I've seen this year. It's just great filmmaking. And yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5-star.
Wow.
So 5-star. Well, damn.
I know
not too far
5
off.
stars.
Rob's coming in with a 2.
Row.
Rob coming in with the 1.5 here. You're ready.
This movie was
My beer was terrible.
too long.
I did not have a beer while watching this.
0 stars.
This movie goes sucks.
Rob, what do you
Guys.
think about Parasite?
Let me tell you what I think about Parasite. I like how this movie is kind of like a grab bag, like we've all sort of mentioned as far as the genre is concerned, and it's a bit of a roller coaster of emotion. It starts off with the drama and then gets into the comedy and then gets into the thriller horror stuff. I think my favorite thing about this movie is the cinematography, just like how it's pieced together and framed, and it's just a really like beautiful movie to look at. I like that it kept me laughing too. Something about it though, I think wasn't quite as big as I was anticipating it being. It's got a bit of like a People Under the Stairs vibe, plot-wise, but
There's literally someone
I
on the
mean,
stairs.
yeah.
No Everett McGill, but yeah, everything else.
Yeah, but it was like ultimately a little more straightforward than I think what I was anticipating. I think my expectations kind of threw me off a little bit here because it being called Parasite, I think I was expecting it to be more of like some sort of disease or outbreak of some sort. So I was like kind of waiting for that to drop, and it never really does. So I was like, I'm building myself up for something that I wasn't getting. So that is sort of my own fault. I'd like to watch it again, knowing what it is actually about, though, and see if it feels more impactful than my first viewing. That's kind of all I have to add to it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, though. I found it to be a little bit less compelling than you guys did, but overall, a very enjoyable movie.
Death to the non-believer.
Well, did you go in like knowing anything about the movie?
No, I didn't.
Okay, we didn't either, and I think that helped me like it more. But the name's a little off. But then once you watch it, like, oh yeah, they're Parasite.
Yeah, like the name sort of is sort of Hitchcockian, and it's like, okay, so who's the parasite here? And that sort of, I don't know. Was the name the Parasite like in Korean? Like in Korea, was it released under like the Korean?
I mean, it has a Korean name, but I'm pretty sure I have it here. I'm pretty sure it translates to Parasite.
That's what I was wondering.
I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check on that because I do have it available because I want to include the Korean title in like our post or whatever, so I had it pulled up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it translates to that.
Yeah, I was wondering if like Parasite meant, it was like a different translation. That's why I didn't translate the right way, but I think it does translate for the movie. It's
definitely like, to me, that's the theme of the movie. It's like, yeah, you're a parasite, but like by whose design are you? Like, it's by no real fault of your own. The whole movie kind of like rips it to shreds the idea of any sort of real meritocracy, and just asks the question like, what do people really deserve for making a mistake financially? Like, what do people really deserve for lucking into something, or like, I don't know.
So it translates to a like specific name, like a specific parasite, which is a parasitic worm. It's essentially like a tapeworm. So it's a type of parasite. So it's not a direct translation to parasite, but the term is helminth, Helminth. I had to look it up. It's a parasitic worm, like a tapeworm.
So, like, that's interesting. Obviously they chose for American audiences the word to be recognized, and the word that is actually way more applicable to financial situations as much as that.
I didn't think it was that. I thought they were sucking off the family, and the family was
it is.
Everybody's
Everybody's just sucking off everything.
Suck off everyone.
Which, if it was specifically like a tapeworm or something, it might make a little more sense with the person living like in the house, like being like
Actually,
in
true.
the house or whatever. So yeah,
you're living inside the beast.
They're calling it tapeworm in American. So tapeworm.
But yeah, the word parasite is more like, because you hear people referring to like people with less, the have-nots as parasites.
yeah.
Take too much from the economy, and like whatever. That happens. People.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Well, that's going to put our aggregate at a 4.7. Let's go ahead and jump over into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics think about Parasite. Juice, take it away.
All right, let's go around the table. We have 321 critics who have rated this movie on Rotten Tomatoes. So we'll start with the critics. We'll go around the table. We'll see if you guys can guess what the critics rated this one. We'll start ladies first. Bex, kick us off.
Oh,
what do you think the score is?
I'm going to go the opposite of 69 and say 96.
Oh,
96. Wow.
That's the back of your board, back of your head.
It's equally as good.
Yeah, but even better.
I like to lay my head on an ass, and I like to have my ass laying in my head.
Yes, sir. Randy, what's your guess?
I got it. I mean, the hype around this is insane. I know it's done really well among the rest of this shit, so I'm gonna also go pretty damn high. I'll cover the lower range for that.
You'll say what?
92.
92. Gotcha. Okay, and Bob?
69, please.
Oh,
man. Bex is gonna take it away. Wow, this is certified fresh with an overall 321 reviews, 99%.
Holy shit.
So there's like one dude out there. There's one dude.
No, there's a 1%er somewhere.
Rob.
Someone out there that's an incredibly wealthy reviewer. Yeah. I don't care this film one bit.
I need those people to survive. Who else will make my rating at
Right.
Mr. Monopoly, man.
I'm supposed to feel bad for these people. No.
Oh my god.
All right.
Well, great.
99%. The critic consensus is an urgent, brilliantly layered look at timely social themes. Parasites finds writer-director Bong Joon-ho in near total command of his craft. So, yeah, just praise.
Sure.
All right.
Just straight fellation there.
Yeah.
Cool. We're all getting sucked up.
Yeah. We're all, wow.
We're getting done, dudes.
We're getting done, dudes. All right, let's hop into the audience score. 2,721 people have rated this on Rotten Tomatoes on the user side. We'll go backwards.
Come on.
And Rob, kick us off. What do you think the users rated this?
I'm going to go with a 90.
90?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
What happened to the comedy ball?
Randy?
I'm gonna say, I think it's somewhere in that year too. I'm gonna stick with 92 just for the fuck of it.
92. And Bex.
I'm gonna say.
That's not a number.
I was either gonna go below Randy or above Rob.
I mean, God, the choices are endless.
I'm gonna do 93.
93. So wait,
Sandwich.
it was okay. It doesn't matter. Becky just nailed it again. 93
Hey!
on the dot.
Jeez.
Oh really?
I was about to
I
say
thought it
what
was
was.
gonna be
$1, man.
I was about to say what's everybody's numbers again, but I was like, it doesn't matter. Becky nailed it. 93.
Well,
Yes.
great.
So yeah, good job, Bex. Woo, sweeping the board.
Thanks.
Welcome back.
I tried. It was a good movie. It was good.
Yeah. All right. So that
Yeah.
is
All
Rotten Maters.
That's it. That's the Rotten Maters.
The Rock Toads.
Randy, you got no trivia?
Not
Randy has bailed on the trivia section for this
Sorry.
week.
What a loser.
Everybody at him, let him know you're pissed off.
Put it on his resume.
Yeah.
Failed
Do your
trivia.
job, Randy.
Robbie Knock is my handle.
That's not a real hand.
At Diddy Did It Dirty.
Diddy did it dirty.
Let's go ahead.
At Sad Dads Did It Dirty.
We were talking about, real quick side note, today or this weekend, we were talking about, I don't like the boy mom trend right now, like hashtag boy mom. We were talking about girl dads, but then
What
you
is-
have girl daddy,
What?
and it just takes it to a whole other level.
That's true. So
What
you're
is
probably
boy
going to have to
mom?
explain what all of those things are.
So a boy mom is a mom who is a mom to all boys. So they're like, I'm a boy mom. Look at all the dicks I just see flapping around all the time. Don't put the Cheerios in the
I don't
toilet
think they
in the
focus
egg.
so
And
much
just
on
very like,
dicks.
oh, let's make the Cheerios in the toilet and like rough and tough outside and all that shit.
It's like the tomboy of moms.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
And then
you.
and there's girl dads like, oh, I touched my daughter's hair for the first time in her life. Oh my
I
god.
learned how to do a French braid.
Yeah,
But
I'm a girl
then,
dad.
if you hashtag girl daddy,
Then we just
then you
get
have
sexy
sex
with
with
it. There's no line.
Oh,
it's a 2-letter line.
Yes.
this sounds
Anyways,
like
Ryan,
some
whatever you're talking about.
bullshit. Middle America.
Yeah. Middle America, yeah.
Some Illinois shit.
Oh, shit.
That's
That's
kind of a
really nice.
Midwestern thing, yeah.
It's really
Daddy did it dirty. Let's go ahead and go hunting, ladies and gentlemen.
That's gonna be my hashtag.
Speaking of cooters,
Oh, I didn't know
who's
this.
that?
I didn't know what go hunting was, but now I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hunt some recruiters.
Justin, why don't you let everybody know who's listening for the first time at home exactly what a cooter is?
All right, we are hunting the cooter, so we need our cooter hunting tools. We are tracking the 5 points of cooterdom. They are sexual deviance, smug arrogance, manipulation, attire, and patheticness. So
Oh, Jesus.
of the
I think
5
there's a clear front runner here.
I think it's good to I think
it's
it's good to have 5 points because last week we were a little conflicted. Like, is it a strong cooter? I think to hit cooter, you should have like 3 of 5. Like, because that, like before we
All
did
right.
4. So who's going to hit at least 3 of 5 and maybe more to get the cooter cake? Who are we talking?
I think there's a clear front runner, and it makes me sad to say it because I kind of feel bad for this person.
Is it the
Yeah.
sad dad, Mr. Kim?
Well, no, it's not. It's the sadder dad. It's the bunker dad.
Yeah, he's a
Bunker dad, well, yeah. Well, he hits a tire because he is wearing horrifying rags, and it's not his fault.
Yes, it's not his fault though.
He's like all fucked up, and he gets taped up and slams his head into it's pathetic how much he belates his master.
That's true.
Mr.
That's
Park.
true.
Master.
What are our other points? Some sexual deviancy, no, not really. But
Arrogance? Not
arrogance, no. What's the last one? Oh, I missed
Smug arrogance, manipulation. I don't know.
it. Manipulation. I don't know if he quite hits that either. So I just think he's
Yeah.
the strongest contender.
Yeah, he's got
If
some
there's another
wily
argument to make.
eyes too, man.
Yeah, I feel bad for him though, and I feel bad giving him the title of Cooter. He's just like, he's the devolved version of Sad Dad. He's where Sad Dad heads at the end of this movie. And
Yeah.
it's just a bummer because it's like it's only partially his fault. He's just trying to fucking survive because he's gonna be killed by loan sharks if he leaves.
Yeah. I guess I just feel like not all that's his fault.
I agree.
Tide cakes or no tide cakes. Not his fault.
Possibly.
The real cooter of the movie, Thai cakes.
Fuck tide cakes. I don't know what that is. I've never eaten.
Fuck.
Yeah.
The son, Q, the son we follow, he might be a better because he's macking on like a
Yeah.
high school chick.
Yeah,
She's
that
like
girl's 16 or something, right?
Yeah, she's young.
And he is
Do you
like
know how old he is?
He's
He's
in
at
college age.
Post
He's at
18, 'cause
least-
he's like, when she's of age, I'll marry her.
yeah.
And
So
yeah.
that's a
So
little
that hits that
deviant.
thing's a dingy.
But maybe she's a cooter because she was also fucking the previous one too.
Yeah,
That's true.
Just slinging leg.
You know, like
Damn.
everybody gotta get done, dude.
I don't know that there's really a good cooter in
I don't
this
think there's a
movie.
Not a strong one.
Yeah.
Everybody is kind of there's no villain in this movie. There's nobody who really raises your back and who is like deserving of punishment for being so shitty.
It's the fucking
Yeah.
system,
It's
man.
the system's the cooter, man. The system's the cooter, bro.
But see, Bob, that's why it's good to have 5 because the brother, Q.
Oh,
he
we
gets-
get it.
Hang on.
God,
But wait,
wow.
he hits 2 points because he manipulates and he's sexual deviant, but he's not really pathetic. His tires fine stuff. So you need an odd amount, Bob.
He smells like boiling rags. Is that kind of?
Well, it depends on who. The rich man thinks he's pathetic. So
They all think I think they like him.
yeah, but at the end, I'm sure like, oh, you're still pathetic, like
Well, yeah.
poor kid and all that shit.
It's the whole.
You call, please.
I think
Yeah.
it's the system, bros. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's capitalism's the cooter, bro.
Jesus Christ.
Now
Korean
we've
capitalism.
done deities, we've done fucking mythical
really-
creatures as cooters. Now we're just talking about ideas as cooters.
Yeah.
Look, man, the system's manipulative, bro, and it dresses weird too.
It'll touch your butt when you're not looking. So
It's
be careful.
It'll really butt fuck you.
Yeah. Careful with that. All right. Well, I think we have hunted successfully. Let's go ahead and talk about some horror news.
Did you say horror nudes?
Yeah, we're talking about horror nudes.
I
Alright.
would
Darcy's,
really
thing
like to
this
talk
week's
about horror. Holy crap! So I actually watched Joe Bob with the squad this week, and I was just like, "Is this chick just here?" Like most of the time, she just sits there silently with just huge fake yabos hanging out.
Well, she's the one you interact with on the socials.
Okay.
He's always had a male girl who like reads his mail or brings his mail or whatever. She does it social media style. Darcy's the prince.
It's just awkward because she's just sitting right next to him, but he never really addresses her. Like sometimes,
Oh, he does
but-
just to give
but-
her shit.
Yeah, but most or to talk about her yabos, like he's like, "Oh, you got some nice
Oh,
yabos."
yeah, this
Darcy."
one
It's like,
especially,
good
yeah.
Lord.
Did
Has
you
never
It doesn't
said that.
cover that too much, but because of the Yabo scene at the end.
Yeah.
did you like hear her whole story,
Did I
Justin?
what?
Did you like hear her whole story that they talked about?
Yeah, they told their they were
Their
like,
sad
oh, we're gonna tell you
Christmas
sad
stories.
Christmas stories.
Oh no.
Hers is
Told real
absolutely
life
fucked
sad
up.
stories.
Yeah, she's got a story.
That shit
No.
is a fucking it's a real drama.
Damn. No.
She was
I
like
did not miss
kidnapped
that.
with her. I'll give you a really brief. She was like kidnapped with her
Her son.
her son. They were being like held captive by her ex-husband for like 2 years in motel rooms.
Yeah.
And she like finally escaped, and this husband like kidnapped the kid, and she got him back after a year. It was right around the holiday season, and she like passes a strip club, and she's like, one day I'm gonna do that and make money. So she did. That's like how she became a stripper.
She became a
Wow,
stripper, and
okay.
she finally had money of her own and could support her kid.
Yeah,
And it
like
was,
they had the best Christmas
heartwarming
ever.
in a very sad way.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
It was great.
Anyway, that's big spoilers.
Yeah.
Big old spoilers.
Spoiler one.
We're all hard.
AJ yells about not.
Yeah, that story is pretty nuts, and I didn't know any of that. Well, obviously, probably most people didn't, because I doubt that she really blasts that often. But
She
damn,
shared it, and
damn,
bless her for it, because that shit
Yeah.
is real.
yeah. So horror news. We're talking about a new movie from the Radio Silence team. If you're unfamiliar with Radio Silence, they most recently directed the movie Ready or Not. They also have done segments for the VHS movies and also the Southbound movie. So Ready or Not was fucking dope. I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't seen it this year. But they're making a new movie. So Radio Silence is like a team of 3 people. They sort of co-direct. They're teaming up with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who are
hell yeah.
Yeah, they're a team of writers. They did like a Lego movie, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
Last Man on Earth.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Bunch of really funny stuff.
Yeah.
So they're all teaming up on a new horror comedy. The synopsis is they're calling it a unique bear-driven horror comedy.
Bear?
With heart. Yeah,
Bear?
like bar.
Is it going to be like
Bear in the Woods.
Ooh.
There's a bar.
Now there's no bars when there's woods.
So it was being pitched as a cross between Good Boys and The Revenant, which Good Boys, that's that recent.
That's that recent movie
right?
about that like
The kids.
raunchy comedy with kids.
Yeah.
Throw a little midsummer in there with the bear outfit too. That'd be great.
There's a bar in them.
There's a bar.
And a person inside of that bar.
Anyway, that shit, that sounds interesting to me. I definitely like everything that I've seen from Radio Silence thus far. They did the best VHS segment, in my opinion, anyway.
Which one was this?
The very last one on the first VHS movie. It's called 10/31/98. It's like the haunted house.
That was
Halloween
so
party,
good.
and there's like fucked up shit going on.
The hands coming out of the walls and shit. That was so cool.
Good stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, especially if like Phil Lord and Chris Miller wrote that shit. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm into this. I'm into all of the things you're saying.
All the things. We have other news coming from Jason Blum and Blumhouse. So they are bringing us a new version of Stephen King's Firestarter. It's going to be directed by Keith Thomas. Have you guys seen the original Firestarter?
I have not. I've seen the cover at Blockbuster.
Yeah, me too. That's about where I'm at. Never seen it, never read it. But it looks like I don't think we have a release date yet. So the original Firestarter was 1984. I didn't realize it was quite that old.
Yeah, Baby Barrymore.
Yeah,
30
but
years old.
Akiva Goldsman is writing the script for Blumhouse. I think that's about all the information we really have on it. It's based on Stephen King's classic novel. The story follows a young girl who develops pyrokinetic abilities and is abducted by a secret government agency that wants to harness her powerful gift as a weapon. So
Sounds like my childhood.
just
Sounds like my childhood.
Oh yeah.
It's happened to me.
light things on fire. What do you mind, Becky? You do that a lot.
Just with matches.
So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. And the last bit of news we want to tackle here, we finally got a trailer for that new Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. What do you guys think about that?
Well,
Not enough Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
But
seems a little too serious for me.
yeah, I mean, I heard people were comparing it to Stranger Things. I mean, that probably has a lot to do with Finn Wolfhard being in it.
Yeah.
You know, I like Finn Wolfhard to a certain extent, but I'm kind of just tired of seeing him in the same kind of roles all the goddamn time.
Me too.
Bob said the same thing. Bob specifically said, I'm tired of seeing his face.
I am, dude. I like him in all the things I see him in, but it's like there are other kid actors.
There's other roles. Like give him something like give
It's
him
like
a
the
fucking
80s.
UPN show in the 90s.
Let me get that kid some drugs. Give People Magazine attention. He'll be out for a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'll give him a Feldman story.
Oh,
I
no,
feel like
don't
I
do
feel like that kid's trying to
Riches
make
to
his
rags to
money
riches.
like while he can. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you know, you're only a kid so long, so I mean, might as well do the roles
Yeah.
while you can. And then once he like grows up, and then he can do other
He's
shit.
like,
Probably pretty close to 18 by now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Probably.
aside that, all that aside, it just kind of like it doesn't feel like Ghostbusters in the slightest bit. Like the female one felt more like Ghostbusters because at least it was in New York. So I just don't know.
He just
why
turned
any of
17.
this. Did he really? Okay.
Or
well, I thought
actually, December
more time
23rd.
Okay. Well, whatever. He's on his way. He's on his way to sad adulthood like the rest of us.
Yeah. Get
Money-
ready, Finn. It's
Money
all
can't buy
downhill.
happiness, Finn.
Tell you what, I can't hate on a guy that was in so many pup music videos, but I just want to, like, if he's going to be in a movie, let's give him something besides the snide teenager to be.
He's gonna end up filling himself up with that booger sugar, you know.
So yeah, it looks dumb. Looks pretty dumb.
Yeah.
The last one looked pretty dumb too, and was. And I have very little faith that Ghostbusters should or needs to be remade.
I didn't grow up with it or anything. Like, I didn't know the actual phrase until recently.
Busting
So,
makes you feel good.
no. I thought it was, what you gonna do? Call Ghostbusters!
Call.
I found out that was wrong.
Yeah, you said that. I fell out of my chair.
What are you gonna do?
Call Ghostbusters.
So, I have no credibility in this movie. Nor do I care, but you cannot find it.
That is hilarious.
What you gonna do? That's a shirt, baby.
I would wear the shit out of that.
What you gonna do? Call Ghostbusters. The real Ghostbusters.
That's awesome.
This feels like a movie where they're gonna have fucking like CGI ass. It feels like they're gonna have like Obi-Wan Kenobi's ghost by the end of this movie, but it's gonna be Dan Aykroyd. Citizens,
Yeah.
ghosts are real. It's time to acknowledge them. My name's Dan Aykroyd.
I think it's a little annoying that they have to make everything feel so like
Heavy.
Yeah.
It just, like it could just be this trailer, but they have like such a feeling of like importance, like huge importance for this movie. It's like, oh, back in the day, New York shit was like fucking crazy.
It's like they're going
don't-
hard on the nostalgia button.
Yeah.
But I also
And-
feel like the last movie, if I remember right, like I never actually saw it, but it seemed like they went like the much lighter route on
Oh,
the
They
yeah.
last movie.
Yeah.
So it seems like
Even
they're
like the
trying to
look
maybe
rate's totally different.
overcompensate or like
I
just
think they
distance
definitely
themselves
are.
from that. So it's like,
So many people were like, this one is like, it doesn't honor the original and my childhood, it hurts. And like,
I have
Oh,
nerd
that's if
friends
you
like
do,
freaking
damned
out
if you
about this
don't.
new one.
yeah. What'd you say, Beck?
I have like nerd friends freaking out about this new one. Like
Oh,
super stoked.
Yeah,
so.
because people's identities are wrapped up in commercial properties. It's gonna happen.
Biggest
Right,
nerd of all.
Bob? Stupid
We're all
nerds
just-
need to calm down.
We're all just Funko Pops waiting to happen. We're just waiting for our 15 minutes of Funko Pop.
Funko Bob. Yeah, this
Bob.
movie looks dumb.
Funko Pop.
We're all Funko people.
No,
Bob needs to go on his
super stoked
nerd
about it.
tirade.
Oh no, I don't care. Nerds can.
I'm
do
actually-
whatever.
I'm more like annoyed by this trailer than I was by the original one. At least the original one was trying to be a fucking silly comedy.
Yeah.
That's the kind of my problem with this. And I think you're right that they're just overcompensating for the backlash on that one because it didn't turn out being very funny. But I don't know. It just seems like not in the spirit of what Ghostbusters like.
I guess
is.
people have such a reverence for those original two movies. They're just like, all right, well, we're gonna fucking give it to you this
Yeah.
time.
We're taking ghosts very fucking
Here
seriously
you
now.
go. Is this what you fucking wanted?
Slimer's gonna be in every scene.
Yeah, it feels a little lame.
Fucking what?
Is this what you fucking want, you fuckers?
I
Fucking
can't
nerds?
wait.
I
Like
do love me
I'm,
some Paul
I'm
Rudd
like
because
pretty
I'm
ready.
a person.
I'm pretty ready for like the nostalgia train to move past my generation.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I'm
Can we get some,
getting
like,
a little tired of that.
I can't wait for the fucking Fortnite movie.
Yeah. or like the SpongeBob movie or some shit. Like, let's just move past because I've said it again and again. Like, I don't hold a whole lot of weight toward the old Ghosts. Like, I get that they're popular movies and I enjoy them, but I just like.
Oh, I love them.
Like, I don't need
I
like
love both.
like we're getting like a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. We're getting a Ghostbuster. Like, I just like I'm ready
Exactly
to move
the
past
Sonic
my
movie we're watching.
generation. I want to just enjoy the things in my mind, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Just make an Uncharted movie or some shit where we can. Yeah, I'm tired of being the past that people are plumbing to make money.
Yeah, let's go back to like Cowboys and Indians or some shit. Let's.
Make an Uncharted movie. That's fine.
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
Yes, very clever wordplay.
Thanks, doll. So, yeah, that's another movie coming out that you can watch if you want. July 10th, 2020, it's dropping. That's all I have for news. And we don't actually have any voicemails to play for our Hotline Scream segment this week. But if you're listening and you'd like to give us a call, you can leave us a voicemail at 904-638-3231.
Give us
we'll
a spooky
play those.
Christmas story. You got any spooky?
Send us your best Billy from Black Christmas impression.
Dude,
We'll pull a Joe Bob.
If we were hanging out watching Joe Bob, Miles was on the Zoom chat, and he was like asking if this is the vast majority of our voicemails just sound like Billy.
This week,
Let's hope so.
Diddy did a dirty. So yeah, call in, leave us a voicemail, we'll play those next week. I guess there's only one thing left to do on the show. It's time to save a life.
Ooh.
This is all new to Becky.
I don't know any of this.
Becky has no idea what this is.
Oh dear.
Take it away, Juice.
Bob, you've been wasting all your dough on those DVDs, the Blu-rays. Randy missed last week. Becca's never heard of this segment before. So
I did miss last week.
Let me
I'm
inform. Becky, you know Bob buys a lot of Blu-rays.
I'm currently sitting in his house. I know the man.
She's sitting on a stack of them right now.
That is the table and chairs. They're all Blu-rays.
Yes, Bob buys a lot of Blu-rays, so we've been tracking them in hopes to publicly shame him and to stop buying so many Blu-rays. Our goal is.
I thought he was earning a jet ski, but now it feels like he's saving the life of like an orphan in Africa.
Saving his own life.
Our goal.
By obtaining a jet ski.
Our goal is to see, like, could have Rob bought a jet ski had he just saved his Blu-ray money and not purchased all these.
Which he desperately needs to save his life.
So, Randy missed last week. It is
where are we at?
December 16th. Last week, Bob had a stack of 8, which puts his total for December at 18.
Holy motherfucking
It is the 16th of the month.
That's
Becky,
2 more than days
last
that
month,
happened so far.
last
Oh,
month,
I know it's like in the 40s.
43 Bob purchased last month.
I look forward to hearing the
Did you hear that, Bex?
You told me, yeah.
When I come to Jacksonville, everything is going to be revealed. All the totals from the month, the jet ski, everything. So we got to Bob, it is now December 16th. You have already topped the number of days. So you'd have to watch a Blu-ray a day to keep the jet ski away. So Bob, show us the new stack. Did Daddy need a new blue this week? Tell us what's going on.
Daddy needed some new blues, so here's the stack on
Here's
all
the YouTube stack. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Bob, you are now at 22, which is higher. If you get rid of November, it's the highest month you've had outside of that. Insane. Some people have
really kind of like expanded your stomach size for Blu-rays.
Blu-rays, yeah. So, Bob, you finally hit 20s, 22 right now. What do you have this week, and where did you get them from?
I picked up, speaking of Ghostbusters, I picked up Ghostbusters 1 and 2 on Blu-ray from Best Buy for super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I also
that's what we always say.
What's that mean?
Real cheap.
I got It Chapter 2 on 4K because that came out this past week.
I'm sure that was real cheap.
It was. And I also got Shocker and Deadly Blessing, which are both Wes Craven joints put out by Scream Factory.
So I might need to count the double. So you said which one's a double feature?
Ghostbusters is a double of one.
All
one
right.
and
Should I count it?
Ass DVD.
I mean, I count the Blade trilogy.
Yeah. This is your game, man. Do whatever you want.
Let's see.
Rob clearly doesn't care and has no feelings about it.
I think I'm gonna count them separately.
I know you are.
Yeah, let's say 5 then. Bob
Yeah.
is at 5.
Mhm.
23.
There's been a bunch of collections Rob's gotten, and we've only counted them as one usually.
No. He's counted them all individually.
Oh, you have been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I will say that 44 people here, it says on Google, die in a jet ski every year. So.
Oh, whoa, that's almost as many DVDs as you bought last month.
How many, Bex, can you look up the statistic? How many people get crushed by their enormous amount of Blu-rays every?
Probably not, but he might get a.
Oh my God, 45.
You might get like a
45,
blood
that's
clot in
crazy.
your leg or something for sitting and watching it. That's what I was kind of wondering.
I usually stand while I watch movies.
Do you?
No.
Like,
I like to hang from the ceiling.
He doesn't.
But you
He
run every
doesn't
day.
watch these Blu-rays. He doesn't watch them.
It's not about consuming. It's about possessing.
Sure.
Bob, let's just do a double check. Have you watched that Blade trilogy yet?
You know I haven't.
You get so mad, but there's a very simple way to answer this question differently.
Yes.
Bob purchased the the triple feature
That's the golden
Blu-ray of the Blade trilogy back in August. Still yet to watch it. Still yet to watch it.
Oh.
I want you to start that trilogy at 12 a.m. on the first of the year, and don't stop until it's done.
Yes, sir. So we only have a couple more episodes this year. We're getting down to the wire, actually. So we're ending this segment at the end of the year. We're only doing this a couple of times. So we're gonna, like Justin said, when he comes to town, we're gonna have a big unveiling and see what a fool I am. Big man.
Rob cannot wait for this segment to end.
It's gonna be great.
He's taking it back.
So yeah, we're gonna be back next week with a new show. We're gonna be talking about our last Patreon pick of the year. We're gonna be talking about Wes Craven's
Worst Cravelers.
Deadly Friend. The movie is called Deadly Friend, as was chosen by Miles. So that's what we're talking about next week. Becky, thank you so much for sitting in with us this week.
Yeah.
It's always good to have you.
Always a pleasure. Better than sitting alone at the house with Andy's parents. They're great, but
Not that great.
But, they're parents.
they're parents.
I mean, one of them is a sad dad, so you can't get
He's not as Chick-fil-A. Just
Also, you gave us a
he brings us food sometimes.
you gave us a great new joke that we should not let go of with the what you gonna
Which
do.
one?
What you gonna do?
That's a new to you
Oh,
guys. That's a
Ghostbusters.
dusted off acorn for me. I laugh about
What you
that on
gonna
the
do?
reg.
Call Ghostbusters.
Come, Ghostbusters.
So yeah,
That's
so
wonderful.
until next week, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at STR8_chilling. On Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join us on our Slack channel, we talk about the movie of the week, talk about TV shows, music, video games, all kinds of stuff. Just contact us on one of those social media outlets, and I'll send you a link so you can join us on Slack. Don't forget to vote in our bracket of blood. Don't forget to vote in our monthly poll pick. Watch Deadly Friend and get ready for next week's show. And that's going to do it for us. So until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
What you gonna do?
Call Ghostbusters.